guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. How's everybody doing? Good. We'll get to that in a second, guys. So, first thing we're gonna cover in today's nutritional seminar is our Shop 11 Meal Planner app, and it looks like everyone here, yes. Everyone here is going to be in the challenge, so I will make sure to cover, certain information that you guys are going to need if I haven't touched base with you already on how your custom meal plans are going to be loaded into the app itself. So, but even if you guys aren't on the challenge, you guys are more than welcome to download our Shop 11 Meal Planner app on your app store, and you can create your login so you can also access it and be able to, utilize the app where you can log in your foods. So, just a couple key points to kind of go over. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see it, but
we do. What he's looking at right now is we have an app guide, and I'll make sure that we put it in both the fitness community by Strive 11 Fitness on Facebook, so that group, as well as the challenge groups, so that you can have access to the full guide as well, just in case.
So I'll just step forward a little bit so you guys can see. So you guys, this is when you first log in. When I create you a login, like your username and your password, first thing that pops up is going to be your initial questionnaire. That's where you guys put in your height, your weight, your allergies, certain food dislikes, things you prefer, your current nutrition, your current eating habits, and all that information, so that once you guys do submit it, you either build your custom meal plans off that, or we can also see what your current habits are and make either suggestions and guide you in the right direction of whatever your goals are. Once you guys get past that initial questionnaire, this is what the homepage looks like, where there's a couple of things here at the top left. That's pretty much your account, where your contact information. And then on the right hand side, there's a message section where you guys have access to pretty much the trainers, Devin and myself, to ask us any questions and reach out to us if you need any certain food substitutions or any just questions in general about either your meal plan or nutrition. So you guys always have access to us with that part of the app.
And so even if you don't have a meal plan as well, and you're logging in your food, right? You're not part of the challenge, and you're logging in your food, and you're like, hey, how can I hit my goal? We can look at everything you've logged in already without you having to send it to us or anything like that. So when you message us, you can be like, hey, can you look at today's, all the food I logged in for today? What can I also eat to hit a goal of whatever it is, right?
And then on the further right-hand side, that's going to be your notifications. So meaning if we uploaded you a meal plan or we sent you a message, answering your question or anything in particular, that's where you guys can find those. And obviously you should when you have the app, you should turn it on so you get notified right away that we did send you something. Next thing is going to be the check-in form. That's pretty much where you guys can, on a weekly basis, it depends on when we set up your app, if your check-ins are going to be on a weekly basis. For the most part, it should be kind of checking on how you did that week, as far as were you on point with your foods with each meal? What did you struggle with, or what are your strengths and weaknesses? So we can see what your habits are and what areas we need to work on. So that's you guys can find that on your homepage, the check-in form right here. Okay. Next part is your diet plans. So when you guys go to your nutrition plan section, that's where you guys are going to be able to either log your foods in. I'm not sure if you guys have used any other meal plan apps before, but in a similar fashion, you guys are able to pretty much hit add food, and then you can search it up on the search bar here to pretty much search up if you have an egg. You type in egg, it'll pop up egg. If you have one, you made a scrambled egg with 3 eggs, you just put 3 eggs, and it'll log that in for you for that first meal of the day. And with each food ingredient that you guys log in, it'll actually give you the breakdown of the macronutrients with each one, meaning how many total calories that certain food is, and how much protein is in that food, how many carbs and fats are in that food. So as you guys go throughout your day and you start logging in all the foods that you put in, at the end of it, you should be able to see how much total calories, how much protein, carbs, and fats you guys were able to intake throughout the whole day. Exactly. So also on that nutrition plan section, on the top, right now it looks like this, if you guys can see it. Right now it looks like this because it's just an example meal plan. But if you guys, which if you're on the challenge, we will give you the custom meal plan. You can find that here on the top right-hand corner with that clipboard and the apple. When you click it, any meal plans that you guys have been given are going to be right there, all listed across, and you can toggle through each version of the meal plans that you guys are given. Okay, so in each one of those versions, it gives you the whole day already planned out. So it makes it much more convenient for you guys to just follow through with it. And if you guys actually, for example, you're following your, that specific version of the meal plan and either you didn't have a certain thing, a certain ingredient, you guys have the option to delete something. You just swipe left, you can delete it and it'll take it off the count. And if you had something else in replacement of it, same concept, you hit add food, search that up, and then it'll add that in there as a replacement. So that way the numbers are accurate as far as, you know, your total calories, protein, carbs, okay? And just to go a little bit into the challenge, for those of you guys that are in it, you guys are gonna, as you follow each meal throughout the day, since it's already pre-written for you, you guys are gonna hit this complete button if you got everything in accurately. So once you hit complete, it'll let us know that you got pretty much everything that was on there. Now, if you didn't have everything, make sure you guys log it properly and delete it so we know that you're missing certain portions and we can either make a suggestion or tell you what else you can either substitute or, hey, I need you to get your protein up. So, for example, you ran out of chicken and you just, you have a busy day and you weren't able to get in some source of protein. That way we know that you're lacking in protein. Now your count's going to be, your protein for the intake for the day is going to be completely off. And that's, it may not seem very important at the moment, but it is very detrimental, especially, throughout the challenge. So that's one point.
So you stated that we have to log in the meals, what we eat, but then we're in the challenge, it's already
pre-written for you. Yeah.
We only have to edit or customize whatever if it's not aligned to what you're doing. For example, if you're telling us a yogurt and the yogurt is X amount of carbs, but mine is a little below or above, I just adjust that?
Yes, you can manually adjust it yourself. You can delete it and then add in what you had, or you can actually message us as well, like, hey, I don't have yogurt, but I have Greek yogurt. I have cottage cheese. Can I have that instead? So we can actually make substitutions for you as well. So you can either do it manually, or you can ask us to make the substitution, and we can swap it out for you. Cool. And yes, the inputting foods, that works for both. Like if you guys are just using the app and you're not on the challenge, and you're using it to just log your food and track your daily intake, that's where you would log your food, all your foods throughout the day. But if you are on the challenge, your meal plan is already written out, you're just gonna follow it accordingly. Okay?
So if you don't eat something specific that's on your meal plan, you just have to delete it and then or
if you don't eat something, like let's say you miss a meal or you don't eat something in a meal, delete it off the day, right? So that way you have an accurate track of what your calories are. So that when we do your in-body and your body composition scan reading, we can also look at that and be like, okay, why have you hit a plateau? Instead of us assuming that you're eating the same thing that we give you.
You have to do it like before that day's over, or like?
You can do it whenever. You can edit that last week's today, stuff like that. But at the same time, are you gonna remember everything from last week?
Yeah, and are you supposed to eat like at the same time all the time?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. So we know you guys have different schedules and all that, but the certain meals that are written on here, you guys can strategically plan it throughout the day. For example, if your snacks, let's just say your snacks, it might be logged in between certain meals, but if you tend to have your snacks at the end of the day, later in the day, or maybe earlier in the day, you can still have it at the time that you prefer, just as long as you have it. Makes sense? And also, to just add on to what your question was, a lot of what we find a lot is when you guys do the in-body and you want to build some muscle, and then you're tracking your food and you're trying to obviously make sure they hit all goals, and then the next time time goes by 3-4 weeks and you weigh in again, you do the in-body again, and your muscle hasn't gone up or you lost muscle. that's where we can go back and we can see like, okay, well, let me see what your daily nutrition is looking like. And then we'll be able to tell that since maybe you were deleting meals or not able to have all that protein, that's where that, that missing piece is that you're not getting sufficient amount of protein for you to keep maintaining and building. And then another section that is very important actually, so when you guys go into your meal plans, you click it, whichever version of the meal plan you're gonna do. So for example, version 1, if you click that, if you look up here on the top right-hand corner, that shopping cart, if you click that, it'll actually give you, and then you go to, since you guys are doing version 1, if you have that pencil button, you have the option to choose how many days you're gonna be following that meal plan. So for example, I'm gonna do version 1 meal plan for the whole week. So I'm gonna put 7 days because I'm gonna follow that meal plan for 7 days straight. You get it done. And once you hit next, it'll give you the full breakdown of every ingredient you need and how much of it you need. So when you guys go to the grocery store, you already have your grocery list and how much of it you should buy. Okay? And just make sure that I cover that base. So for example, you guys are, for the ones that are in the challenge, when you get your meal plans, if you guys decide to do alternating, meaning, for example, you do version 1, there'll be a version 1A and a 1B, where you're gonna alternate those two versions per day. So for example, Sunday is version 1A, Monday is version 1B, Tuesday is 1A, Wednesday is 1B. So you're alternating every other. Make sure when you guys are on the shopping list, you hit 1A and you're gonna do it for 4 days, and then version 1B for 3 days to make up your whole week. Now when you guys split it up like that, and then next, it'll give you the same, what's it called, your grocery shopping list. But obviously, keep in mind, it will make your grocery list a lot bigger and your preparation a little bit more complex because now you're preparing 2 styles of meal plans. So it is that. So we left that up to you guys to what your preference is and what would work best for you. Because some people like it very simple and they can eat the same thing, every day, like me. Or if you guys, can stick to the meal plan, but you need a little bit of variation, that's something that you guys can definitely utilize. Cool. Next part.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, let's say there's 5 meals, right? Well, one of them is a snack. So if by any chance, it's the end of the day, we're eating our 4th meal, can we eat the snack at the same time? It's like a protein shake and then the snack so that we hit all of our
Yes.
meals? Okay.
Yes, yeah. So if that works best for you, by all means you can do that as long as you're able to get in, all the meals that are in that meal plan to make sure that you're getting all the numbers correct.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's it's math, but also you don't want it to be where you're eating meal 1, 2, 3 and the snack all at one time, because then that's not 100% the best beneficial way to do it.
And we'll go into it. But right now we're going over the app stuff. We're going to go into nutrition and how that all plays a role in timing and all that kind of stuff as well, which will make it make a little more sense.
So for those of you guys that are wondering on the breakdown of your macros of what it should look like on every day on a meal plan, on this top side right here, you can toggle through each day. So for example, today and yesterday, Friday, August the 30th, it'll give you the total calories that you were able to take in for that day, protein, carbs, and then fats. And then the same thing if you toggle through tomorrow, the day before, and so on and so forth. So that you guys have a complete log to make sure that you can see that you're hitting the appropriate numbers for each total calories and macronutrients on a consistent basis. Okay.
I guess this is where I come in. Well, my name is Edwin with Fitlicious Meal Prep. I'm very honored to be working with Devin and Nick with Stride. So our goal is to have stuff like this for you guys be convenient. We take the cooking, the cleaning portion out of everything. We brought some meals for you just to get a little taste. These are signature meals, but to go along with his app or their app, I think they broke it down with how much you guys have to cook or how much you guys have to eat. So that's where we come in. You order everything online, obviously. But what we do is we make it easy for you guys. We offer, I think would be most convenient for you guys is everything by the pound, protein, carbs, veggies, and you just mix and match. Obviously you guys are gonna be weighing your food out, so that's very beneficial. We also do offer custom meals. That's a little bit higher of a price. It depends on, you know, everyone's schedule and stuff, but I feel the best bang for your buck would be by bulk. It's called by bulk, by the pound. And we have, you know, chicken, turkey, steak, fish, everything you guys need for your guys' meal plan. The only thing we don't offer is like fruit. I don't know what kind of snacks you guys have, like nuts and stuff. We don't offer stuff like that. But with everything else, we should, you know, we do accommodate to a lot of meal plans. So if there's any other questions or anything, obviously throughout the challenge, we're happy to help. And yeah.
Yeah, the reason we wanted to partner with them is, you know, we use them as well, and a lot of meal prep companies only sell it like, you know, this, it's already a done meal. But the cool thing is that when we wrote the Fitlicious meal plans into the app, it's broken down by the weight, right? So if you do that 1A, 1B, it'll tell you pretty much what you're gonna be ordering for the week, right? So only order 1 pound or only order 2 pounds. That way you're not wasting any extra food, and all of a sudden you're having to order the next week, you know, man, I have, you know, a pound of carrots or whatever, right? So it's a little bit more, like he was saying, a bang for your buck, but 2, they have different flavors for chicken, different flavors for steak, you know, all those kind of things. So you can customize what you want. If this week you're doing chicken and it's, you know, teriyaki chicken, next week it's, you know, garlic chicken, whatever the case may be, you get to, you know, switch it up and not get bored in that sense, right? So, but there's a discount code and everything like that, and we'll send that to everyone afterwards. Yeah, for the challengers. My bad. But now kind of going into like an extension from like the app and everything like that, because, you know, today is the whole.
I just wanted to, can we freeze the food, or let's say you buy in bulk, do you?
Yeah.
How long does it last?
So we don't use any preservatives. There's nothing frozen. Like, you know, some stuff comes frozen. We try to get the freshest ingredients possible. So if you are gonna freeze it, which some people do, I would recommend freezing it right when you get it, because we cook and then we deliver it literally the next day. So if, say you get a couple pounds of chicken or whatever, and you know you're not gonna get to it till later in the week, I would freeze it right away and then kind of let it thaw out as you're gonna, you know, plan your meals, as he said, like strategically, you know?
Just make sure you freeze it not when it's hot.
Yeah.
You know?
And then just you know, before we like get to the nutrition, that section. So you guys did get a discount, exclusive discount code with Fitlicious, and I think the benefit of being able to order with them is, one, I know a lot of people kind of deter away from the meal plans because of the preparation. It gets tedious, and like you said, the food goes waste. One of the biggest thing is that when you guys order in bulk, which is like, you know, for example, like the protein, because they do the protein, carbs, and fats. And side note, yes, the snacks like yogurts, like cheese seeds, cheese sticks, whatever it is, that's just the small things that you guys would need to get at the grocery store on the side. But you are going to be saving a lot, and I say that with enthusiasm because, like Devin said, we use it. I order from them every week, mainly the protein. Mainly the protein, because I know protein takes a while to cook, and you know that's like one of the most tedious things. And like, if you think of it like this, a pound of protein, like for example, barbecue shredded chicken, teriyaki chicken, teriyaki steak, it's like 16 ounces. If you look on your meal plans and your lunch and dinner meals throughout the week, it's like 4-ounce chicken, 4-ounce steak, 4-ounce shrimp, whatever it is. That's like 4 meals that are covered already. So you should be with 1 pound, and you don't only have to order 1 pound, obviously. You should like think about look at your meal plan, look at what you need, and when you guys go to the website and order by the bulk, like, okay, I'm gonna do this version, I need to order 2 pounds of chicken. So all 8 meals that you need chicken for are already cooked and covered. And the best thing is like their menu, we already added it into the app. So you have 2 options to go up on that, and utilizing Fitlicious, which I think you should, is if you guys want to substitute it yourself, if your meal plan says 4-ounce chicken, you can delete it, and then if you type on foods, Fitlicious shredded chicken, it's in there. Or you can simply do like the math, use the same measurement. If it just says 4-ounce beef steak, and you ordered teriyaki beef, then just use the Fitlicious, but use 4 ounces, because we already put it in the app. So I think that's like at least, you know, a benefit and an advantage if you guys find it hard to prepare like your meals, and at least like that way, honestly, like I think for what the prices are by the pound, like yeah, can't go wrong.
And then one thing that, you guys don't have to, we also partner them too, because you don't have to commit to a month, you don't have to commit to, a certain time frame, there's no contracts. Like if you guys just know you're gonna have a busy week, you can do it for 1 week, right? So what's the day that you have to order by?
So we do orders by Thursday night before midnight. You get food on Sundays. We deliver. We also offer pick up.
So if you guys know the next week you're gonna wanna try it, make sure you place that order by Thursday so that next week's already set up, right? But then let's say the following week you guys wanna try to cook your own meals, again, you have the option to, so it can go back and forth.
So if I don't freeze it, how long is it good in the fridge? 'Cause I've bought in the bulk before, and I'm a type of person that I can't eat leftovers for some reason. And so if I order it Sunday comes Sunday and Wednesday, I won't eat it because I'm like, I don't know, that broccoli kind of looks suspicious.
I'll be honest, the veggies, some fresh food like that does go bad quickly, especially the veggies. Me personally, if I get veggies or I bring home veggies, I'll try to eat them right away, and then I'll cook as I go, just because that's easy to cook. But when I'm like trying to cook protein and cleaning and all that, I don't try to do all that. The protein, I feel like it would be you guys' main, I guess, objective, if you guys will. I hear what you're saying, and like, I also try to like go around that with the leftovers. I kind of feel the same way. So if I do recook my stuff, I try to recook like on the pan or something, or air fryer, and it kind of gives that fresh feel instead of like microwave after a couple of days and leftover feel. That's just me personally.
Yeah, no, we're good. I don't microwave my food, so you're on the same page.
Yeah, and we are gonna start working on doing a second day delivery, so it'll be like Sundays and Wednesdays. It's just we haven't implemented that just yet.
And it's a bulk, the same thing as what was on the website. I don't know how it is now, but before it was like X amount of protein, X amount of veggies, and X amount of rice.
Well, that's like a custom meal. Like that's optional. You can also order custom meals. Like say you want 4-ounce chicken, 6-ounce veggie, no carbs. You can do no carbs or yes carbs. That's a custom meal. But bulk, you can just order 1 pound of chicken if you want, or you can order like 6 pounds of chicken. We have like we have a good variety for protein for sure.
Okay.
And will the app tell us how many pounds to order in a week for the meal?
So yes from the shopping list. So like if let's say if you're gonna do week 1A and week 1B for the Fitlicious, once you put that basically for 4 days and 3 days, right, equaling the 7 days of the week, once you click the shopping list, it'll show you how many pounds of each you're gonna be ordering. Right, knowing that, well, I don't know if it shows in ounces or pounds, but so every 16 ounces is 1 pound. Right? And we'll put that in like the group as well, just so you have it.
When you weigh food, do you weigh it before or after you cook it?
After.
After you cook it?
I mean, typically you want to weigh it afterwards because depending on, let's say steak, for example, right? If it's more fatty, it's going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to be a little more dense before you cook it. Once you cook it, a lot of that fat comes out, right? And then it's left in the pan, right? So to keep your measurements consistent, you don't want to weigh certain foods cooked, certain foods uncooked. Like for rice, for example, if you weigh a cup of rice, if you measure a cup of rice uncooked and then you cook it, it becomes like 3 cups, right? So all of a sudden, if you weigh it that way, you're having triple the amount of carbs. Your meals might be a little more tasty, a little more filling, but your body's not gonna
I learned the hard way the first time.
Yeah, and then and the ordering with bulk with Fitlicious, like you guys can, if it's only to go into account what Barb's question was, like if you guys find like the protein aspect or even the carb, like the rice should be fine, and potatoes should be fine, like for that your meal plan throughout the week. But you only need protein, then you can order just protein. If you want carbs with it too, then go for it. And if the veggies are like something you don't want to order, that's the veggie you just buy at the grocery store with your other snacks.
Yeah, because for me, I'm a mother of 3, and I have 2 particular kids that are very, very picky in certain ways. So I'm like, if I have to make something for myself and then make something for them and then change something up for the other one, it's too much time. So it's just convenient to stay on task.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about the bulk is like, again, like how Nick only orders just the protein and then he cooks his carbs, his fats, all the other things just to go along with it. You don't have to order the carbs and order the other things, you just cook that. But you could also order, in bulk, freeze, let's say half of it, and then have 2 different flavors of chicken all throughout the week. Or if, the kids like, one style and not the other style, well, now you have one style for your meals and they get to eat one style kind of thing. However you want to do it. It's a cool thing, you can kind of like plug and play what you want to do, right? So it's all customization, and you're not stuck to just doing a custom meal and then it's only this, right?
To add to that, I hear what you're saying with the kids stuff. I don't personally have kids. I have like nieces that I take care of sometimes, but I do try to eat clean. So say for example, I have ground beef for my meal. I also have ground beef that I can make tacos or something for her. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can like, it's cool with the bulk. You kind of can remix it if you will.
Okay.
Any other questions on like the Fitlicious or on the app or anything like that?
Could I just leave my app? None of that showed up on mine, that like changed, right?
Wait, what?
The meal planning.
Oh, you mean after the questionnaire? Yeah, it doesn't look like that because I haven't put the meal plan.
Yeah.
Because you haven't checked it.
Yeah, so we put the meal
So I
plans
couldn't
in.
follow along.
Yeah, so like each person has their own meal plan and stuff like that. It's not just automated. So when you send us a message and we're making a customization, it's on your meal plan, not on everyone's meal plan, right? So that's like the difference between, you know, some gyms will hand you like a printout and everyone gets the same meal plan. That's, you know, one of the things why we have the app and stuff. We wanted to be a little different and have you have a meal plan that you actually like, that you're actually gonna follow, because, you know, not everyone's gonna like eating, you know, tilapia and asparagus, right? We wanna make sure that you're actually gonna eat the meal plan, because at the end of the challenge, we hope that you stay with the habits that you've just built for the last 11 weeks, right? That's our whole purpose of our challenge, is to make sure that you're building a habit, not just doing something that's a crash diet and all of a sudden, you know, okay, cool, when's the next one? It's like, no, you should keep going.
Do you have to put your picture every time on your team?
No, you don't have to do it.
Only things that like say required.
Huh?
Only the ones that say required. But going into like some of the, again, no more questions or anything? If you have questions, feel free. No. So going into some of like the supplements, guys, as well as like the nutrition. Remember, supplements are supplementing your current nutrition, right? So supplements aren't necessary, but they are beneficial if needed, right? So the first three things that going into, I'll wait for 1 second, let the pen. But the first things that we're going to talk about basically is your like the macronutrients, right? What are the three things that you are mainly focusing on when creating a meal plan, when worrying about your nutrition? Because people will start to be like, oh, I need, you know, vitamin D3 and this and that, and they start focusing on all these things instead of the main components, right? So the main components being basically protein, carbs, fats. And so the first one, like one of the most important ones when anyone's starting to, you know, watch their food and starting to eat clean is your protein, right? And the reason I say that is because it's the hardest to get on track with your protein, because most people undereat their protein. And once you can figure that out, whether you're gaining weight or losing weight, whether you're bulking or you're cutting, either way, your protein stays pretty much similar, right? Because that goes off of basically 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, right? So if your goal is to be 120 pounds, you're gonna do basically about 100 to 120 grams of protein, right? Whether you're losing or whether you're cutting. Only thing that starts to change after that is your carbs and your fats, which we'll go into, right? So the reason why let's say you weren't doing the meal plans, we weren't writing out the meal plans for you, and just logging stuff into the app, the first thing we try to have you guys do is at least hit 100 grams of protein. Because the majority of people, when they're not tracking their food, they don't even hit 100 grams, and that's bare minimum, right? So with that being said, you have to think 4 ounces of chicken is about 25 grams of protein, right? So if you're only eating protein, 4 ounces times 4, now you're gonna be at basically 4 meals, now you're at 100. For a guy like, you know, for a guy or someone that's trying to bulk and you're trying to get to 150, 180, 200 grams of protein, that starts to become a lot of food, right? So that's where like supplements and stuff start to come in. Or if you're already struggling to eat the amount of protein that you need, then again, that's where we would introduce the protein supplement. Protein supplements don't act as like a magic bullet to, you know, make you build muscle. It's just giving you that macronutrient which builds muscle. You can either eat it or you can drink it. Does that make sense? Right? So with like protein, whether it's a supplement, whether it's food, the macronutrient of protein itself doesn't make you gain weight, right? But overeating it can slow down your metabolism, right? And so with that being said, protein, if you overeat it, again, you're not gonna gain weight from it necessarily, but you are slowing down everything else that you're eating after that. And so it almost acts like a line at Disneyland, right? So if you're thinking it's protein, 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 carbs, fats, protein, 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 the carbs and fats need to be metabolized as well, but your protein that you already ate earlier is in your system trying to metabolize, right? So that's when people are like, well, I don't have that much carbs and fats. It's like, well, yeah, now you're eating 200 grams of protein, and because you want a high protein diet and you think that carbs and fats are bad, you know, you're actually kind of going against the scale on yourself on that. Does that make sense or no?
Yes.
I just want to make sure, sometimes it makes sense to me, and I just want to make sure it makes sense to you guys. So, and if anything I say or, you know, that we say, you guys have a question on, again, feel free to ask. This is, you know, this is for you guys. We will post this, like it is recording, but it's mainly just a post on the challenge group as well as in the fitness community group, so you guys can rewatch it, take notes or whatever, you know, and understand your nutrition outside of the challenge as well, right? The next part, going into carbs and fats, right? Who thinks that carbs are bad? Anyone?
I used to think.
Okay.
I was about to say,
I used to.
So then, who thinks fats are bad?
Depends on what kind of fat.
No one thinks anything's bad?
It depends on what kind of fat.
True.
Because
So-
like, if you're eating some healthy fats instead, if you're eating some bad, like saturated fat, that's when it's bad.
Right, perfect. Yes, no, definitely. And fats themselves, carbs themselves are not bad, right? It's the amount of carbs or the amount of fats that you eat. So going into that, when someone says that they're on a 1,000-calorie diet, right? Some people are like, oh man, you're gonna start losing weight. 1,000 calories just means that calories come from basically grams of macros. Basically 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs, again, 4 calories. But 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, right? So when you tell me I'm eating 1,000 calories or 2,000 calories, my next question is of what? That's awesome. You can eat 1,000 calories in cake and it's not gonna be the same as if you're eating 1,000 calories, you know, diverse between protein, carbs, and fats, right? So when we do your meal plans and stuff like that, the basis is off of calories, but those calories only come from and basically tell us how much of protein, how much of carbs, and how much of fats we're gonna put into your meal plan, right? So don't be swayed. Again, this is talking just general terms, right? Not dictated to just the challenge. But when you hear like, you know, 1,000-calorie diet or anything like that, remember that that's only the overview. You have to see what it's actually made up of, right? Make sense? Cool. But going into carbs and fats with that, right? Some people respond better to carbs and some people respond better to fats. It's all per person, right? So some people, again, like for me, I have to eat basically a mix between the two. If I do have a high fat diet, low carb diet, it does not work for me, right? I just start to become like flat and just like feel kind of like sluggish. If I go all carbs and no fat, then again, that's too much energy for me and it just doesn't respond well to my body. But some people are you know, good the opposite way, right? They can go all fat, no carbs, or all carbs, no fats. It really depends on what your body works with. So for majority of the meal plans, we do it basically split half and half, right? And then that's why we do the body composition scans. Again, whether you're in the challenge or not, the body composition scans, you can do it as many times as you want, right? I don't recommend doing it more than once a week because it's not enough time for your body to actually change enough so that we can read it and know what's happening. Because if you had, let's say, more water today than yesterday and you do it again, it's like, okay, I need like an average essentially, right? But when we do make an adjustment, it's a game in the beginning because we need to find what works better for you, right? So typically people work better with a little bit higher fat and a little bit lower carb, but if your body doesn't respond, the next week we'll have you weigh in again if we make those adjustments, and then we'll switch it and see if you either respond better or worse, and then we'll basically go full blown whichever was the better response, right? So if we do have to make an adjustment like that, you're like, you know, my body's not responding to this, again, we'll do your measurement again the following week with that first adjustment, right? So the main thing is realizing that just because it's not working as fast as you think it could, it might just we might just need to make it adjusted to you a little bit more, right? Instead of just a template for everyone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But typically the difference between carbs and fats, right? Carbs are gonna be quick energy sources and fats are longer term energy sources, right? So let's say for like a stride workout, eating a piece of fruit or something that is more carb based before a workout is gonna give you the energy for the next 30 to 45 minutes when you're doing the workout. Typically that's when people start their first workout here and they get nauseous and they throw up. I tell them don't get discouraged because they just had a blood sugar drop, right? Because their body wasn't used to that, which just means that your basic glucose or your carbs in your blood just dropped low, so your body wasn't ready for that response. So eating, you know, a piece of fruit or something like that before can raise your levels of carbs or glucose in your blood and alleviate that nauseous feeling when you're working out. So if you ever feel nauseous or anything when you're working out or when you're doing something that exerts a lot of energy, realize that it's probably because your blood sugar is dropping, right? So if you eat a piece of fruit, if you drink a Gatorade or something with sugar in it, then that should alleviate that fairly quickly, right? Now the opposite, if you guys do, I know a lot of the girls are doing that mud run. I think it's literally called Girl Mud Run.
Yes.
Something like that, carbs aren't going to benefit you necessarily because carbs are out of your system within 30 to 40 minutes of a workout, right? So for that, you can eat a little bit of carbs or banana at the beginning, but then I recommend eating something like peanut butter or something that's going to be a little more fat-based, like almonds, right? Because that's going to end up lasting the next 30 minutes after your carbs are done, right? So when you're doing something that's running or you're doing something that's going to be a longer pace, let's say, if you're a teacher and you're working all day long, you don't want to have a high carb-based diet because again, those are bursts of energy. You want something that's a little more higher in fat so that you have energy throughout the day that's kind of dispersed, right? Make sense?
Yes.
No, I didn't do that.
Well, yeah, as far as like the, beans, understanding like the difference between carbs and fats and implementing that in your guys' daily eating habits, or if you're following a meal plan, I think that can also help you guys as far as like being strategic about like the activities that you guys are doing throughout the day, right? Like if there's certain snack or whatever your snacks are that you're gonna have or it's in your meal plan, if you find that it's gonna help you it's gonna be more beneficial for you to have those pre-workout, then by all means do that. You know what I mean? And then, like what he said, if your snacks or whatever the food is like more fat sourced, and you're about to do something that's more longevity wise, physical activity wise, then strategically plan that as well before.
So then before we go into like some of the supplements and some of the micronutrients and stuff, some of the questions that you guys had too, I want to like emphasize on, right? The timing of your guys' meals, right? Let's say, for example, like people like Nick and I we're starting at 5 in the morning and we're going till 10 at night, 12 at night, right? Eating 4 meals, evenly spaced between 2 to 3 hours doesn't really work because then you're left with gaps somewhere, either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, right? So there's a ton of nutritional fads, whether it's intermittent fasting, whether it is the keto diet, realize all these things are doing is restricting your calories, right? Which means restricting your macros. And typically when someone tells you this is the beneficial thing, like intermittent fasting, it's probably because it worked for them because they were overeating their carbs and overeating their fats, right? So when you take out that excess energy, because any energy that isn't used, meaning expended like through working out or doing something, that turns into fat, body fat. Because your body fat is going to be basically your last resort for energy for your body, right? So any excess body fat, you gotta think that's just stored energy. So that when you work out, you're expending energy, and when you expend more energy than you can take, you lose weight. If you eat more energy than you expend, you gain weight, right? Again, that's why protein itself isn't an energy source, so you're not really gonna gain weight or lose weight off of that. That's just to repair and rebuild your muscle. Make sense? So the things I wouldn't focus on necessarily with like the intermittent fastings or any of those kind of things is really just focus on what kind of foods do you eat, do you like, that work with your day, right? So if you like more of a Mediterranean style diet, which is gonna be more fish, more grains, fruits, nuts, stuff like that, again, that's awesome. Does that have a beneficial effect for some people and not for others? 100%. But at the same time, if that's what you can eat and you like eating those foods, we can mix and match the macros to fit, right? And it will work for you, right? So just because it doesn't work one time doesn't mean it doesn't work for you. Maybe it just wasn't implemented right? The other thing with like spacing out your meals, as long as you get your nutrients in a given day, you're gonna get the same results. Whether you eat your meals 5 hours apart because you're up for 20 hours in a day, or you eat them 2 hours apart because your days are shorter. Either way, you're gonna get the same result. But if you put them too close together, this is the only like one caveat of that. If you put them too close together, let's say you miss meal 1 and you're like, I have an extra meal, I'm just gonna eat it with meal two and double down. Your body can only intake so much protein at one time, and then it won't metabolize the rest. So on average for the traditional person, it's gonna be 40 grams per meal, right? People can work up to 50 or 60 grams over time, but within an average, it's 40 grams. Right, so if you eat 50, 60, 70, 80 grams in one meal, you gotta think you just wasted 1, money, but 2, that protein that's gonna rebuild your body the way you need it to. So that's the only way we say space out your meals at least 2 hours apart, but not basically you have to worry about, I have to eat it, it's, the 2-hour clock just hit, I need to eat right now. It doesn't work that way, right? You'll hear people say that it does, and you'll read things and say that it does. There's scientific studies that, show that. And just because it's 8 o'clock at night doesn't mean you can't have your meal, right? That's another thing that people say, don't eat after 8 or don't eat after. The only reason they say that, again, is to restrict how much you eat so that you don't need to eat after 8, and now you lost those calories that you would normally snack and watch TV and, eat a, Twinkie when you're watching whatever you're watching, right? But once you restrict that, now all of a sudden you lose weight.
I don't like it.
Cookies, someone just bought cookies, she said, not naming names, but,
January, girls come to cookies.
But with that being said, right, bodybuilders, the professional bodybuilders, wake up to eat. So if it made you gain weight and it made you, get fat, then why would someone that's gonna be walking on stage wake up to eat another meal? If you think about that, right? The logic wouldn't make sense that way. But when you're sleeping, and make sure you guys are getting enough sleep, when you're sleeping, your body is metabolizing, your body is repairing everything, so make sure that you are getting, especially during the challenge, make sure you're trying to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I know I'm, being a hypocrite when I say that, but make sure you're trying to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
3 hours is good for us. Not highly recommended.
I hear you that.
Good.
Question, if you eat, Hispanics, you can't go to sleep after you eat because, it's just sit on it. You just thinking, how much of a reality is that? Because sometimes, I eat late at night and I'm like, brush my teeth, I go to bed. I eat 10 o'clock, I brush my teeth, I go to bed.
So that's fine. Right? Honestly, my last meal is right before I go to bed as well, right? So it's not the time that you're eating, it's what you're eating. Right?
So is it good to eat a lot of protein before you go to bed? Because that kind of your body will burn it, right? Or that's...
Yes and no. I mean, you don't want to eat a lot of protein. You want to eat the amount of protein that you needed, right? But let's say you skip 2 meals, don't double down on your protein right before you go to bed. Right? Remember, because only 40 grams is going to be metabolized anyways, right? You're just going to have to wake up and go to the bathroom, right? So, I think that's just how it works. But with that being said, if you have carbs, you have fats and stuff, that are energy sources right before you go to bed, that's probably not going to be the most beneficial for you because you're about to go to sleep and not spend any energy, right? So then when you don't spend energy, it turns into fat. But if you're also eating to the point that you're overly full, realize that you could have stopped a while ago and been just as fine. You being full and you feeling that the lethargic feeling of, what's it called? Huh?
I need to finish it.
I mean, yeah, or even, huh?
You overeat
Food coma, that's what it is. Food coma. If you feel like you have a food coma, you overeat, right? The brain is going to basically tell you you're full way after you've already been full, right? Because there's a delayed response in that. But also, there is studies done that you're supposed to take 20 or 30 bites. I tried it one time and I was sitting there chewing forever, and I was like, this ain't working for me, right? The reason why they say that is because it takes so much time that it gives your brain enough time to realize that you're full before you get that full feeling, right? But sitting there counting your bites didn't work.
You don't listen to your stomach?
Nope.
Because I eat.
When your stomach growls, it's not growling because you're hungry.
What is it?
It's cleaning itself. That's what it actually is.
Oh, I am starving right now. I'm just
But I mean, but the thing is, someone, let's say you think that you're starving. The thing that if you think you're starving too, right? It's one, what did you have in the beginning of the day? But then 2, also realize that your hunger and your thirst are the same response in the brain. So you might actually just be thirsty, right? So that's why we say try to drink a gallon, but if you go half a gallon to a gallon a day, that a lot of that hunger that you think is hunger, it will be alleviated, right? And also you being, our bodies being 70% water, it's one of those things that you're going to actually flush out a lot of toxins and a lot of other, bad nutrients that you don't need, and excrete it in the restroom.
Okay, so right now, I was super starving, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm alright.
You've been drinking water, girl.
No, not even that. I hadn't ate earlier. But I'm saying sometimes I just forget to eat. I literally forget to eat. I'm during a climb, I'm like, oh my god, I'm starving. After an hour, I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. And then it takes me 4 or 5 hours for me to actually get some food in my my system? I mean, how
So,
bad?
I mean, it's not bad.
What I eat is,
I would set, I mean, what you can do is you can set like on your phone either like a calendar reminder, or I mean, you can do an alarm, but depending, like if you're with a client or something, like you don't want your alarm just going off, right? But like a calendar reminder that just gives you like a single ding, right? And you could set it one at 2, one at 3, one at 4. So if you didn't eat at 2, you'll get another reminder at 3. The difference between, or the difference of what you're doing and what you should be doing is like you're thinking of food of, I'm eating when I'm hungry. I'm not hungry anymore, so I'm not gonna eat. Food isn't meant to satisfy you necessarily. Food is fuel, right? Your car doesn't say, I'm thirsty, you put gas in me. It says, I'm on empty, I need gas to keep going. Food is the same way. You eat food because it keeps you going. It keeps you going towards your goals, but it also just keeps you functioning and living, right? So if you're eating because it's a pleasure thing, or if you're eating because you're bored, realize you have to, kind of have some self-reflection and am I hungry right now because I'm bored and not doing anything else and that's why I want a snack, right? Or is it because I haven't eaten in 8 hours and I actually should have ate, 2 meals by now, right?
What if I'm half there trying to get ready to hibernate?
Huh?
What if I'm half there trying to get ready to hibernate?
I mean, no.
Or it keeps me thirsty too, and that's
like, rarely if I don't eat, I rarely get headaches, but sometimes I'll get a headache. Like, if
You also-
I don't eat.
You also get a headache if you don't drink water too.
yeah.
Well, I'm usually drinking like 2 or 3 of these a day, especially if
Is that
I'm
20 ounces?
44.
But what is it? It's 0.67 ounces per pound of body weight, ideally, and then like another 12 ounces for every 30-minute workout.
Yeah.
Physical activity.
Basically the range is a minimum of half a gallon and then max a gallon. If you're going over a gallon, is it going to be bad? No. If you're exercising and you're doing like rigorous activity, then you might need that water. But also realize if you're just drinking, if you're going over a gallon and you're only drinking water, realize that you're flushing your system out. This is something we were just talking about, G. You're flushing your system out of vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes, right? So make sure that you're taking either an electrolyte or like the BCAAs that have electrolytes in them, because those kind of things retain the water in the system so that you're not just flushing out everything, right? Because you could be overhydrated as well.
That I'm like an attestant to that. I'm usually overhydrated that day.
So if you take BCAAs, do you still have to put electrolytes in your water, or that replaces like as long as you take like 2 tablets in the morning, like?
So I mean, you can still take the 2 tablets if you want, right? But the BCAAs, the ones that we have electrolytes in them, right? So the reason we have it with the BCAAs is because usually you drink the BCAAs when you work out or around when you work out, and that's when you're typically going to be sweating the most, right? And that's when you're going to be losing the most water, right? But if you're naturally, let's say, cramping throughout the day, if you have cramps at night and you're sleeping, drink some electrolytes before you go to bed. Can you drink the BCAAs before you go to bed? Yes, right? So going into like that, right? What are BCAAs, right? So the BCAAs, that's what makes up protein, right? A strand of protein, like the chemical compound, is basically just a chain of BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, right? So the reason why you drink these, not only for the electrolytes, but whenever you eat or you drink protein, it's gonna connect the strands or the almost strands of protein faster and more efficiently, leading to basically a more efficient recovery. If you only drink BCAAs and you weren't eating protein or enough protein, let's say you weren't hitting 100 grams of protein, this isn't gonna do anything for you, right? Because now you just have a bunch of free branched chain amino acids floating around, but they're not connecting together to form that chain which equals a protein. That make sense?
So I've been wasting my money.
But do you eat protein, no?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, you're about to start eating protein on the challenge, so it's gonna be a life change for you. So with the BCAAs though, it's one of those things where this is, again, only to aid in recovery with proper nutrition. Do you need BCAAs? No. Will it make your recovery more efficient? Yes, right? But again, only if you're eating the right macronutrients or again, drinking the right macronutrients. Protein itself, the protein powder, it's not better than chicken, it's not better than steak, right? The difference is it's a little faster acting because your body doesn't have to metabolize it, it's already in liquid form. When you eat something like chicken or fish that's a little leaner, your body's gonna metabolize it fairly quick. If you eat steak that has a little bit of fat, right, it's going to metabolize a little slower, which also leads you to feel full for longer, right? So if you, for example, you guys go to Korean barbecue, you're full for hours versus like if you go to sushi and you might be full for an hour, right? So the reason being is the fish, the rice, all those things metabolize fairly quick, whereas Korean barbecue is all, majority of it, that people order is gonna be the steak. No one had, and if you do, no judgment.
I
but,
order chicken, so.
yeah, you already knew I was going with that. You already knew I was going with that. But typically,
That's good. That's why I don't go there often.
No,
Sushi, you'll find me at sushi spots.
yeah, see, there you go. But it's, typically people order a lot of steak, and now you're eating heavier, slow metabolizing proteins, so you're full and you feel lethargic for a couple hours versus an hour, right? So that's the difference between that. So the protein powder again only helps you if you're not eating enough protein, or if you basically are going to be eating a lot of steak and you want to not have steak for a meal and you want something a little bit faster acting. There you go, right? Or if you're eating late at night and you don't want to feel lethargic, instead of having that last meal right before bed, you can do that in a smoothie, a protein shake. When I say smoothie, that doesn't mean with all the other additives. I mean protein shake, basically water or milk, depending on your meal plan, with just the powder.
Oh, no.
Ice if you want. Not if you're doing it at night, because remember, fruit is going to be carbs, which are going to act as energy that you're about to go to bed.
How about oats?
So oats are going to be basically more complex carb, and that's again. So like you can do that same smoothie though in your meal plan in the beginning of the day, and you'll have energy and stuff for your day. But if you're doing something at night, you shouldn't be having a bunch of carbs, a bunch of fats and stuff right before you go to bed. And then
And like just to add on to that too, like what a lot of us like tend to, if we haven't been, it's our, I guess we're fairly new at tracking our food and understanding nutrients. It happens all the time that when we tell you guys minimum of the amount of protein we should be having is 100 grams per day, right? But more so if you have a specific goal, trying to hit that carb range of 0.8 to 1.2. Now when we have you guys track your food for 3 or 4 days, and when we follow up with you, you start to realize the proper amount of grams of protein is a lot. It's very voluminous, and you'll especially with guys, the amount of protein that actually takes for us that we need to intake to hit the proper goal. It happens all the time. It's a lot of food. I'm full. I can't seem to eat all of it. That's one of the benefits of the protein powder is that it helps you hit the numbers. Again, because
Is that why
break it
you
down.
have so much more calories in meals?
that's testosterone.
And it takes more energy to move bigger muscle areas. So, but to hit the numbers, at the end of the day, it comes out to math essentially. But 1 scoop of protein powder, majority of it should be above 20 grams. If not, you need to check your protein powder. But for example, the protein that we carry, 24 grams a scoop. It's if you're having trouble hitting your numbers and damn, I can't even hit 110, 120 grams of protein. That's just something that is going to aid you in being able to hit your proper amount of protein for the day.
But sometimes I find it too sweet.
I mean, it just depends on what flavor you're getting. I mean, there are sweeter ones and they're pretty dull ones.
Add more water.
The basic vanilla, I find it so sweet. I use half a scoop because I find it so sweet.
But you can also just mix it with water. In the sense that if you're mixing it with milk, one, it's going to enrich the flavor. But 2, if you mix it with water, you can always add more water, right? So if you get halfway done with your protein shake, just fill it back up. 1, you're drinking the water that you need so you don't feel hungry. And then 2, you're diluting that flavor out, right? But then also there are flavors that are going to be a little less potent. I know the cinnamon cookie, that one's it almost tastes like just cinnamon, right? And then there's other ones I haven't tried the peanut butter one. The banana chocolate one's not super sweet. It tastes like a frozen banana chocolate, popsicle thing. It's a favorite one. But yeah, so I mean, there are ways to do that. But the main thing is if you guys are doing your meal plans and you're saying you're eating you're saying you're taking a scoop of protein and you're not, when we do your measurements, we're going to assume that you're doing what you're saying. So when we make your adjustments, it's going to go off of what we're seeing, not what So if you're doing something, even if you guys have a cheat meal, right? Again, going back to the person that just got cookies right before this, right? So, but let's say you guys do mess up. It happens, right? Input it so that we know what we're basing our next adjustments off of. Because if we don't know, the things that we don't know are going to affect your next meal plans, right? They're going to affect the adjustments that we make, right? So be honest, it sucks, but also having to input something that you don't want to input, you're all of a sudden you're like, damn, I don't want to have to input that the next time. So the next time that thing comes up, or you're gonna go eat or drink or whatever, you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to have that conversation again, right? It starts to hold you accountable without having to have a conversation. So.
Two things. Number one, supplement, because you're on the supplement area. I take some supplements, and I don't know if they have calories or not. Should I also input those? Like, for example, I take apple cider vinegar, and I take black seed oil, and I take collagen.
So the collagen will depending on what collagen you take.
Powder.
The collagen powder.
Yeah, depending on what collagen.
I don't know, it's on Costco, it's on sale.
So like look at the back, right?
Yeah.
The reason to look at the back, like this collagen that we have is somewhere over there. But it has 15 grams of protein, right? Remember, protein is every gram is 4 calories. So
that one has 12.
Okay, so I mean that one you're already gonna be at 36 calories essentially.
Okay, so I should still input that, so you can see like the numbers.
Or 48 calories on that.
And then my second question was, if I go out drinking, how do you input those drinks?
Come on.
Hold
on, so you're, wait, so
you're
one
not
time
No, because
drinking.
you were saying like,
No,
like,
first
for example, like,
off,
I'm not gonna ask the bartender, hey, what was in that drink? Like, how do I input it in the thing?
in the app, it should have it. If it doesn't, again, you can message us and we can input it in or come to like a judgment on it. But for the most part, again, you shouldn't already be planning to do that.
No, I was
So,
not.
okay.
I was saying,
He's pointing at me too, man, girl.
So-
no, I wasn't like, I'm not planning. I'm just saying like, if there ever is like, because I know that the meal plan is very more flexible and not so restrictive. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be. 11 weeks is a long time, to be honest. I don't know what you guys feel, but 11 weeks is a long time. I thought 6 weeks was long, but 11 weeks is a long time, and there are times that I might fall off. I'm gonna be honest, and I want to be truthful to the app and whatnot. But again, I'm not going to do it daily because I don't want to be asking you, hey, Devin, I had a margarita and
Don't drink daily. I get what you
You're
mean.
here, she has 3 kids.
I get. Don't enable. But no, I get what you mean. But no, it's one of those things where we can input those things in so that again, if it does happen, because if you're doing it, someone's gonna end up doing it in the future, right? So again, you messaging us, it's not that you guys are bugging us. Like we want that we're here to help you. That's why we did a meal plan and didn't just print off a sheet and hand it to you guys and say follow this, right? So we want to give you those customizations, right? And there's going to be fall offs, and that's why we did it for 11 weeks because it is hard to stay for something for 11 weeks. But again, we're not just doing something that's going to be a crash and then you guys are flip-flopping right back, afterwards. We're trying to create the habit that you are basically creating a new version of you at the end of the 11 weeks, right? So even if you fall off, it's like you fell off today, but that didn't mean you fall off for the whole challenge. You fell off tonight, but that doesn't mean tomorrow is ruined, right? Tomorrow's still a good day, right? So you got to make sure you're, getting back on the horse and going right back into it. And the thing is, like, 11 weeks is a long time, especially right now. This one's coming up into like the holiday season. It ends right before the holidays. We did it there so that you guys feel the best going into the holidays, and you're just creating those habits right before the holidays start. So hopefully we can, minimize some of that like holiday weight gain, but also realizing that 11 weeks is a long time. Let's say you're going to go out to a birthday dinner, or you're going out and you're going to go somewhere, right? 9 times out of 10, where you're going ahead of time, right? And yeah, so you can, literally know where you're going and pull up the menu on the app, because the app has a lot of places, but you can say Cheesecake Factory and type in the meal, and it should have the actual meal, right? And you can input it basically before you go, and then you just adjust the rest of the day before, right? So if you do it in the morning, you do it the day before, now I know I'm gonna basically take out these carbs and whatever, because I'm gonna go to BJ's and have a Pizookie or whatever, right? That's your normal thing. You got kids, right? So just input that in, and then say I'm gonna have an eighth of it or whatever. Then you just do best guess when you're there. But at least you know ahead of time what the rest of your day is gonna look like versus eating everything leading up to it, and now you went over.
Okay, I get it.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make
so
sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I thought I was gonna have to bring my Tupperware to the restaurant.
I mean, you can.
It really does.
Enough people do. I mean, it's not like out of character, that much out in the open where people are like, what the heck are you doing? It's like people know that like fitness is real.
And I just wanna, just to make something clear, like what we're kind of like addressing right now is like, yes, we are, trying to work as best as we can with being able to make adjustments, to what would best fit you, or this what you prefer and substitutions like that. But a baseline point though is like, as best as you can, do not try to deter away from what the meal plan is, because the mindset shouldn't be like, oh, it's kind of lenient and I can substitute stuff out, because then you're already giving yourself that out. You're already setting yourself, how your mind's set up to like, okay, like maybe I can substitute this and like sacrifice this and like take this out. That's not the primary foundation of it. The whole point is to stick to the meal plan, because that's essentially what's going to be the best for you to to make the progress. Because then if you think about it as well, it's like, yeah, you're gonna input like substitute, like, okay, you messed up, it happens, right? But the whole point of being honest about it, so that we can see on your next reading and your next meal plan, like what to adjust to make sure you're still on track, not to keep making adjustments because you keep messing up, right?
Yeah.
So maintaining that mindset, like I have to stick to this, because Devin used to, like way back when, Devin used to say it to me all the time. It's like, or when I was doing the competition, it's like if you ask like, oh, can I have this? Can I have a cookie? Can I have something? It's like, is it in your meal plan? Is it in your meal plan? Because if it's like something where you're not put in a position to where like to make it, like that kind of like that judgment call, like, okay, this is all I have, right? And I mean like, okay, these are the food sources that I have as an option. Then that's majority of the time where you want to, okay, kind of like I can substitute this and then we can make the adjustment together, but not the mind frame where it's like, what can I have today that's going to fit in my meal plan? Because also keep in mind, if you do mess up, that means we have to make it up somewhere. So if somebody asks me like, oh, can I have pizza in my meal plan? It's like, I can put a pizza in your meal plan. That's the one thing you're going to eat for the whole day, and you're probably never going to hit your macros. So everything else ends up being sacrificed just to.
What if it's cauliflower though?
I mean,
Or a Fitlicious cookie. So can you make like the pizza instead of using bread, like chicken? Like, pounded chicken or ground, like lay out the chicken.
You want to get creative, yeah.
And then like, put your marinara sauce, cheese it or whatever.
yeah, log it in the app for that whatever meal you're gonna have. As long
But
as
then you
it's-
have to put how much, like of the meat you put in, like. you have to
whatever you
weigh
measure.
where.
So whatever you're having, whatever you measure that you're gonna have, put it in the meal plan. So we can see, and as long as it fits within there, or we can see where it didn't fit, we can make the proper adjustments afterwards. But that's a great point as far as like, that's when we're starting to get creative. That's kind of like where our mind frame is like, okay, like this is what I have at the moment, like wherever I got at the grocery store. Can I make this adjustment to fit my macros, right? That's a good like mindset to have, like in making the adjustment section of it. So
Yeah, it's easiest to basically plan ahead. You know you're gonna do something custom and get fun with it. You know if you're gonna have protein ice cream, ahead of time, plan it in. But again, measure it beforehand instead of doing everything and then you're trying to backtrack and figure out how much you did of every single thing, right? You already know what you can use, what you can't use, right? And then again, going into what you were saying is like, you want to stick to the meal plan, but remember the meal plan is your meal plan. So like, let's say you want to replace, his reference earlier was, Greek yogurt for cottage cheese. When we make that adjustment, that is now in your meal plan, right? So now you don't have to be like, oh, can I have that every, that's your new meal plan. It's customized to you, right? What he's referencing is this is my meal plan, but can I also have this? What about this? I just want to add this in today, right? Like, is it in your meal plan? No, but is this a substitution you want to make moving forward? Different question, right? And he was referencing, because he used to text me on a daily basis, literally all these different things, and it was like, dude, what are we doing, right? So that's what he was, talking about. We do want to help you. So if you guys do have questions or do want substitutions, let us know. We're here to help, right? But if you start just going, hey, can I add a cookie in? I'm just gonna, look at you and just smile. Let think about it.
Now, like, I have cravings. Can I just take like a bite or something? Can I just put that in there too?
Is it in your meal plan?
I'd be like,
It's one of those things. Do it again. Put it in.
like a bite.
At the end of the day, when we do your in-body scan, if you are doing, because what you're considering a bite might not be what I'm thinking a bite is, right? So at the end of the day, when you do your in-body scan and ask us what happened, and we look at your meal plan app, I'm gonna know if you're doing stuff outside of this. again, there's cause and effect. If you eat all of this and only this, there's going to be
So
an
I should
effect.
carry that scale everywhere? Like-
So no, I mean, there's measurements. We're gonna send out like a measurement list. Like one of the other things that we created, we're gonna again put this in both of the fitness community and this challenge one. But like other things, basically, like if you have something in your meal plan, you want a substitution. So like, there's a whole list of proteins, and all of these proteins, we measured it out like what equals 20 grams on average, right? So there's 3 ounces, 6 ounces, depending on what it is. There's also a list for carbs. There's also a list for fats, and then also the list for fiber. Right, because one of the other things that people don't realize is fiber, the intake of fiber, right? You should have anywhere from 20 to 30 grams on average, right, a day. And if you're not eating that, and through the list, you guys will be able to see, if you guys aren't eating enough fiber, all the meal plans that we created have enough fiber in them. If you're not eating it, again, one, it's gonna slow down your metabolism, but also your digestive movement, and that's not gonna be beneficial for you. So if you're not eating enough fiber, then that's when a fiber supplement comes in. But a fiber supplement isn't necessary for everyone, right? It's just one of those things where, again, if you're not eating it, then drink it, fine. And that's where like some of the things like the fiber supplement, right? And then like the Opti-Greens, like both of them help with like digestion. Opti-Greens, so a lot of like dark greens normally have fiber in it. The darker the green, the more fibrous it is, right? So that's what these ones are. And again, we're gonna look at your meal plan before just giving you a supplement like that, because if you don't need it, then again, you're just wasting that in your body. You're over giving yourself more nutrients than you need.
You have diarrhea.
So, I mean, a lot of them, again, like, so we have the ignition, but the ignition, again, is a liquid carb. Majority of people do not need this. But if you're someone that, let's say, is gonna be doing, a ton of running and with working out, all those things, then this might be something that's beneficial that basically gives you that fast-acting carbs, right? The other things that I know a lot of people are on is basically like the L-Carnitine, the thyroid drive, the goddess, the overdrive, all very similar, but they basically L-Carnitine helps your metabolism, speed up your metabolism. So if you feel like you're eating this and you're not having the most beneficial result from it, or you're feeling full all the time, right? This is something that can help basically speed up your metabolism, keep your thyroid in check. And then the goddess and the overdrive do have a little bit of caffeine and a little bit of fat burner effect to it as well. Is that a necessity? No. Does it help? Yes, right? Again, just depending on the person. So before anyone takes a supplement, like we always have a conversation to just like, okay, yeah, this is what you need, right? If you go to like a GNC or vitamin shop, that's what they're gonna end up doing, is just take this whole bundle, is all you, right? But if you guys aren't taking, the only supplement that, if you guys aren't taking, whether it's this or something similar to this, right, is a multivitamin, right? So alongside the macronutrients, the micronutrients is gonna be your vitamins and your minerals, which start to affect basically how your internal organs, how your cellular structures, your bones, your hair, your skin, all those kind of things come down to vitamins and minerals, right? Then it also has to play with your brain, your cognitive thinking, and basically your brain functionality, right? So make sure you guys are taking a multivitamin, whether again it's this or something like this, so that you guys can not just function on a macro level, but also everything is running at the most efficient pace that it can.
Because when you guys are, kind of mid to deep into the challenge, as you guys are, kind of, your body's reacting and you're realizing you're lower on energy, you don't feel the same, and, you want to be able to set yourselves up the best way possible to be able to perform at the most optimal level.
And the last two supplements I'll say, because I know a decent amount of people take collagen, right? I mean, I personally take collagen as well. It's not a guy or a girl thing, it's for everyone. Not only does a lot of people take it for your hair, your skin, your nails, but collagen actually focuses on the connective tissue, right? So for your joints, if you're having joint issues, if you're having any connective tissue issues, that's what collagen is going to start benefiting. The other one that I know a lot of people are on too is the joint mobility. This doesn't focus on, even though collagen helps with the joints, it focuses on one aspect of the joint, right? Joint mobility focuses on basically the gap in between the joints, the synovial fluid. So any inflammation in the actual gap itself, that's what joint mobility does, just so you guys know the difference. Any questions, concerns?
So what might
That's probably gonna be the synovial fluid.
Really?
Of course, not helping.
Any questions? You guys good? Well, I mean, we're gonna try to do like more of these like style seminars on different things, whether it's like stretching, you know, all those kind of things, you know, like sporadically, right? Not just around the challenge, just happen to be right around the challenge too. But, you know, just so you guys know, we're gonna do these kind of things a little more often too. So it's not just coming in to work out, but also, you know, build the knowledge for you guys so that you can take this and know this stuff when, you know, you're in the outside world with, you know, social media and all those kind of things that have these, you hear a piece of the information, but not the whole picture. And then you think that's just everything. You just need this one thing to make it work, and it doesn't, and then you're upset, right? So we're gonna start doing these little seminars on different aspects so that we can try to help you guys again on every area of fitness, you know, wellness, mindset, all those kind of things as well. I know we do the Mindset Cafe podcast on Friday nights, but we might even do ones where it's like live ones like this too, that, you know, you guys can contribute and stuff and all those kind of things. I mean, we're here to help you guys in any way we can. So thank you guys for coming, and with that being said, make sure you guys, you know, grab a Fitlicious meal and try them out.
Edwin was a great example for everybody.